All right, folks, so as you can see, I've watched Cherry, and I've essentially become the main character. I forgot his name. I don't know, maybe we never learned his name. Maybe his name is Cherry. That would be quite a plot twist. If you like this costume, let me know down below. But I'm going to, of course, I can't read with these glasses. I'm going to get into the video. Let's do it. So I am going to swap my glasses because I can't read without them. But I will keep the beanie just for you because I'm committed to the costume, folks. Okay? I have to be. It's a bit big, you know? I feel like it extends pretty far up, but what can you do? I don't really wear beanies, but very exuberant this film is in terms of style. Clearly the Russos had fun making this one, and they just wanted to, I feel like after sort of the cookie cutter Marvel films, they wanted to try something new in the form of, just experimenting with style. Of course, Tom Holland is the main actor in this film, and he is phenomenal. I've not seen a bad performance from him since, he got big. Not that I saw one before either. I had seen nothing of him before he got big. But, of course, phenomenal performance. And this film is just, really, really long, unfortunately. And I don't think it really needs to be that long when you look at sort of, what it includes. And I think that brings it down quite a bit. And I'll get into that later. But I am going to review this film in terms of sections. It spaces itself apart in 5 sections, I believe. And I'm going to review each one sort of individually. Let's do it. Part 1, I'll just say, very stylistic. Of course, the whole movie is, but I feel like, you can sort of specifically feel it in this one as they sort of bring you into this world, into Cherry. Some clever techniques, but the story itself is unfortunately, not really original. It's basically a teen romance. It serves the purpose, of setting up the story, and it does it well enough. It's a little longer than it needs to be, but of course, nothing new. Part 2 is a sort of generic basic training sequence that you get in a lot of films. Again, nothing new. Does it pretty well, though, I have to say. And there's some creative choices that I really liked here. Some of the best stylistic choices in the whole film, like text popping up as people speak. And when you have part 2 in specific, I feel like is the most forced part. You really wonder, is this necessary? Because what does it do to the character? The PTSD is already established, of course, in part 3 when he actually goes to serve. You can just explain that he went through basic training, that other people were messed up in basic training, but I'm not really sure this entire sequence, we needed another basic training sequence because, like I said, you've seen them in so many films already where they are necessary, and in this film it really wasn't. For part 3, a little disappointing again. It just really feels like just hyper-realistic violence, sort of retreading just Afghan war, but especially, Iraq war and Afghanistan, and just nothing new, nothing original. And then when it's not just the actual war itself and him fighting and him being a medic and whatnot, it's just random base shenanigans. And you sort of tune out because you're like, why do I need to watch this? What does it accomplish? This is not what I signed in for. And it's not. So at this point, you're like halfway through. And I just wrote down that, I was getting pretty tired, unfortunately. And I think that sort of I'll explain at the end. But I feel like that sort of feeling just remains throughout the entire watch. So then you get to part 4, which is probably the heaviest part of the whole film, where he really undergoes his descent into drug abuse. He gets home, you deal with PTSD from the war, you deal with, the drug abuse, the opiate stuff, and this is, of course, the heaviest part of the film. It really had a chance to be something new and interesting here, but I feel like the Russos really stuck to the tone that they had established in the terms of style, with random shots, random coloring, random text pop, just different stylistic choices. You'll see what I mean. And I feel like it really hurt this section in particular where they were trying to escape the sort of fun aesthetic of sorts. Not fun, of course, not a fun movie, but the fun style. It is a fun style. They try to make it digestible, and that's not what this section needs. It needs heavy hitters. And I don't think that the style helps it in the slightest in this section. And then part 5, you have the bank robberies and the drug abuse. I would say Tom Holland and I forget the girl's name, but great performances. They really feel convincing as these drug addicts. And I feel like, again, another heavy-hitting part. But I think the bank robberies are certainly the best part both of this film, in my opinion, and this section. First of all, why didn't he get caught sooner? Because he robbed like 50 banks or something like that. He barely tried to hide his identity in most of them. And some he didn't at all. So he really should have been caught. But besides that, the bank robberies with Tom Holland, sort of a guilty pleasure because that was a lot of fun. Just watching him go into individual banks and, sometimes have conversations with the tellers. I got a kick out of that. And then again, I wrote down my ending thoughts. By the time the epilogue came around, I've just lost a lot of enthusiasm. You know, sort of it felt like a drag. Felt like I was being dragged. Yeah, I felt like I was being taken on this ride that was just exploring different individual concepts that were never each mastered. And so again, I'm tired by this point, and I don't feel like I've walked away with enough to justify having watched it in the first place, besides the fact that I get to make this review for you wonderful people. And then of course the epilogue is just Tom Holland going to prison and doing basically nothing. Again, another sort of instance of something that really didn't need to happen, that we didn't need to watch, that could have been told to us, fine, or maybe didn't even need to happen. You could have just ended him with him getting taken by the police, or maybe, just a quick scene of prisoning him, reuniting with his long-lost love. So that's just another, instance of dragging it out, making it longer. And I have to say I was left feeling underwhelmed and disappointed were the words I used. Because that's just this film's in a nutshell. Is it bad? I would not inherently call it I guess in a sense, you'll see in the score that I give it, it kind of has to be bad at least, but it's not horrible. There was a lot that I really liked. There was a lot that I really didn't like. It is a super middle of the road film to me, if that means anything to you. So just keep that in mind. Very middle of the road despite the score I give it. And I think just my point here is that different movies master the individual subjects that this film is trying to explore. So I wrote down, you want to watch an Iraq movie, watch The Hurt Locker. You want to watch, a movie with similar style. Scorsese might do it for you. You might want to watch Bank Robberies, Hell or High Water. I love that movie. That movie's great. Please watch that movie. Not that the others aren't, but, and then, tragic romance, opiate epidemic. I haven't seen Requiem for a Dream, but apparently that's a great one that explores it. And this film doesn't master any of them. It explores them all, it combines them into one, and it just feels like it's doing exactly that, just combining 5 stories into one with the same character, and it never feels like it masters any of them. And I'll just end it with, I think the style could be very fascinating in a different story, one not so heavy-hitting. Maybe, because they were trying to incorporate some comedy in here, I didn't really feel like it landed ever, but if you want to do a sort of comedic, maybe action type movie, I think it could really work. If you have a style like this, maybe don't make it so serious next time. I would watch it next time. I think the Russos are generally good directors. I think the direction is one of my, I don't really have a serious problem with it here. I think, again, the style I quite like throughout. But in general, messy, doesn't really ever master anything it's done, very slow, very long, and feeling of underwhelmingness, I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say. Folks, I'm going to give Cherry a C. So folks, that's my review of Cherry. Let me know if you like the beanie, let me know if you like the glasses, let me know if you like the dollar bill, if you got that gag, let me know. And folks, watch another video of mine, there are tons. Subscribe, hit the bell, comment down below. I have been EDPC Reviews. You have been amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.